Let's get this installed in a PC case. Mike here with Tectonic Systems. Welcome back to the channel. Let's dive right into installing a motherboard into a PC case. Here we have the Height Y70, and there's a couple things I want you to take notice of before I dive into actually installing the motherboard. So one thing, I have this case completely broken down to its most bare form in terms of everything is removed, brackets, sides, the top, the bottom, everything is removed for ease of access to the motherboard tray and everything here. Some cases, this tray may even slide out of the case, which makes it even easier to install the motherboard into the case, but in this case, the tray does not come out. So one thing to notice here, and this case makes it super simple, is that these standoffs are going to be located in different spots of the motherboard tray for different size motherboards. So ATX is A, Micro ATX is M, and Mini ITX is I. And as you can see, AMI, AMI, M, AMI, MM, A down here, AM, M, AMI. So you can actually remove these standoffs with a screwdriver and a little socket here that fits over top of these standoffs, and you can actually just unscrew them and relocate them to a different standoff hole depending on the size of your motherboard. So you're going to have to take note of what size motherboard you have and adjust accordingly to that motherboard. But for this case, I have an ATX motherboard, so we're just going to keep everything in its standard configuration as it comes from the factory, designed to fit ATX motherboards. And as you can see, this standoff here, there is no corresponding hole, but when you turn the motherboard over, we actually do have a hole where the standoff will actually go into. So you can leave that standoff in the case so that it provides some extra support to the motherboard. Now again, there's a hole right here, and that corresponds to this right here. And as you can see, that might sit under a piece of the motherboard like this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and we're going to see what type of access we have to that hole. So we don't have any access to that center hole either. So that standoff right here is also just going to go into the hole and provide some extra support. So if you notice this hole cut out right here, this is where the CPU socket would sit. And that's nice because your CPU coolers, whether they're water blocks or air coolers, are typically going to have a bracket that sits on the back of the motherboard so that the CPU cooler has something to pull against as it's tightening. So being able to access behind the motherboard is great because you can put it on after. However, I would recommend installing a bracket like this on the back of the motherboard prior to installation. That way you don't have to deal with this. Not all cases have this cutout. So it's as easy as just simply placing the motherboard down on top of the standoffs with the I/O panel correctly oriented in its hole right here. Once you have the motherboard placed on the standoffs, your PC case is going to come with a pack of screws. Now, you might think that the motherboard would have the motherboard screws, but they actually will come with your PC case because they will fit into the standoffs that came with the PC case. So let's go ahead and put these screws in. Looks like I'm going to have to use my iFixit screwdriver, as it's going to be a little bit hard to get down into that with my larger screwdriver. So now I have my iFixit to get into this smaller hole here so I can screw this in. This is why iFixit is super nice for PC building, because you can't always use a very large screwdriver to get into these small tight spaces here. Now the motherboard is officially installed into your case. It's super simple to install like we just saw, and the couple things that I like to do, like installing my RAM, my CPU, and any NVMe storage before installing, it's all optional, but it does, in my opinion, make building the PC a little bit easier as you don't have to work inside the case as much. Well, that's all the time I have for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.